Hello everyone, and welcome to another week in the verse. So before we get started, don't forget we've still got our competition running for the entirety of this month to win that Ursa Fortuna. So all you need to do is comment on this and every video before the end of the month for your chance to win. And just a quick announcement, because we are at BritainCon next weekend, there's a likelihood there won't be any videos out that weekend, so no Spectrum Drama and no A Week in the Verse. But if we can get anything out, we will. But at the minute, it's looking unlikely. So that's it. Let's get started.
Okay, so this week was a little bit slim pickings of going through various info that we've got. There's not actually a lot of it. At the beginning of the week, we had a Squadron 42 update email go out, which had some fairly generic information. There was a couple of takeaways though. Although disclaimer, this first one probably won't be seen much in the PU, but for those interested in Squadron 42, this might be interesting. So, for some of the cinematic scenes that they're making, they're actually putting the sort of a utility in where the scene will start from I believe, first-person view of what's going on, or third-person, I'm not sure. But there's going to be a button you can press, and you can switch between third-person or first-person, depends on your preference of, point of view that you want.
That's cool.
Yeah, I thought it was quite a nice little addition. Sometimes you want to get fully immersed and you want that first person for the cinematic. But, if there's a big battle going on, you might want a broader view, so go third person.
Yeah, I like that they give you options, you know what I mean? Rather than just going, this is it, this is what you get. They actually give you some options to tailor it how you want. It's really cool.
Yeah. They're also making some improvements to anti-aliasing, which will definitely make it into the PU. Nice bit of graphic improvement. I mean, the game is pretty as it is, but any extra little sprinkling of sugar they can put on top, brilliant.
Oh yeah.
They're also trying to improve the render to texture so that sort of video comm calls are a bit more smoother and less resource demanding. Also, in the Squadron 42 update, there was mentions of the vaulting and mantling. These sort of animations and mechanics have been finished off, and we should be getting them in the PU, I would have thought, in 3.6. But we'll see.
Good.
The team have now moved on to a version 2 for the jumping in Star Citizen. For anyone who's an avid jumper in the PU at the moment, you know it's kind of odd. It's more like a hop.
Yeah, and your arms wave in the air like a lunatic. It's not very it's not very ninja-like.
No, hopefully the version 2 is a bit more ninja-like. They've also done the first pass on unarmed combat and stealth takedowns. They're all now complete, and again, hopefully we should see this in 3.6.
Hope so. That will make such a difference to not just normal gameplay, but like, for example, the things that we want to do, which is the more cinematic style of editing these videos, making a story, being able to sneak up and take someone down rather than just do the generic shooting. That will just make such a big difference.
Yeah. So that was the main takeaways from that update for Squadron 42. There was a lore post that came out, but to be honest, there wasn't much information going on in there. It was just about sort of in-game celebrities and some new fashion items. It really didn't have much information to give out. And then after that, we have a 3.5 went live.
Yes, it did.
Kind of.
Rather painfully.
Very painfully, yeah. There's some known server issues going on. A lot of us experienced some crash to desktop at the very beginning. That seems to have been ironed out now, but performance is a bit odd. The in-game frames per second are actually really good, but it seems like there's a problem with the back end of it, because some of the menus and mobi glass don't load very fast. You could wait 10-15 seconds for something to load up.
Yeah, I mean, I was amazed, and I mean, we were trying to play yesterday, and I just kept running around going, "This is amazing," because for some reason it wouldn't let me put it into 1080p, so I was running it in 4K. But then when I got it into 1080p on ultra settings, this thing just run like a beast. The frames per second were amazing, like everywhere. But it took me about 5 minutes or so to get a helmet on, and I never got a weapon equipped. It just wouldn't happen. So every time you open your mobi-glass, for me, I'd have to wait a minute or so before things popped in, and then I would select the thing I wanted. Nothing would happen, and then I'd give up and I'd go and play something else.
Yeah,
it was shocking. Apparently, that is a lot better than it was yesterday, but yeah, they really need to kind of iron that bit out, because that's game breaking. That if you can't equip a weapon or you can't put your helmet on,
yeah,
you're stuck in somewhere, you know. Yeah,
according to one of our members on the Discord, shout out to Jag, there is some sort of not performance, but some actual problems with the hangars at Area 18 and Lawville at the moment as well. Ships not spawning correctly or blowing up as soon as you spawn them, and falling into the floor, all sorts.
Sounds like the kind of stuff that happens to us just normally anyway. But yeah, if that's happening to other people, I feel bad for you guys.
Yeah, there's some real problems going on, and with the holiday weekend now, I can't see this getting mostly sorted out until next week probably.
Yeah.
Right, that's kind of the main info we got this week. It's been quite quiet. Maybe it's because of the holiday weekend, or maybe, I don't know, someone was sleeping on the job. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Last few notes we got were there's a 3.5 feedback survey going on the Spectrum. So if you've played a few hours of it and got some opinions, feel free to jump on there and let them know.
Yep.
There's also an update to the Public Telemetry Page. So if you want to see performance for systems or your own system, then you can check that out.
Good shout. I was actually just thinking that, because I haven't checked that for ages, and then I checked it literally this morning. It looks really good, and I think it's a little bit. I don't think it's quite as accurate as don't take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
But I put my settings in, and it pretty much told me what I should be getting, and that's kind of what I was getting. So it's good to be able to see that. And we actually did have a question from from one of our subscribers, which was to do with system specs and stuff like that. And I think we're going to cover that at some point soon. Maybe we're going to just kind of give you a rundown of some of the specs that we use and our Discord use, and give you an idea of how it runs and stuff. But this is a really good way to figure out, should I be getting more? Is this the game? Is this me? It gives you an option to tweak. So yeah, very useful.
And lastly, on the 3.5 Live newsletter, there was a very small sneak peek of the multi-tool, and they're looking at different sort of UI elements to put on the gun itself, or on the tool itself, rather. There's some quite funky options there. I haven't really figured out which one I like out the most, but take a look, see what you think.
Yeah, I like it. I think it looks pretty interesting. So,
I suppose lastly we should mention there was an RTV. That was a thing.
Kind of.
Yeah, they were just kind of spitballing ideas about truck stops, or should I say rest stops, as they kind of finalised. Yeah, not too much information, just some random spitballing ideas. Yeah,
they a couple of things that I took away from it were the talk of kind of the different levels of rest stop, dependent on kind of where it is. So if it's in a system, if it's outside a planet that's maybe a more wealthy planet, not in the middle of nowhere, then it might be a slightly fancier one, I guess would be the term. Better shops, better amenities. The other thing I did like was the fact that they were talking about whether or not you'd be able to get patched up yourself on one of these places if you're a bit mangled. And they were saying, maybe, the bigger stops will have somewhere where you can do that, and obviously, fit stuff to your ships and do all that kind of stuff, but the smaller ones won't. So I like that. I think that's a good idea, not to just have them all cookie cutter, the same.
Yeah, it would be good to see some variation. We know they're improving the sort of rest stops in the next couple of patches. They're going to put like abandoned ones in and a bit more variation in the layout. But yeah, seeing some actual differences between them would be kind of cool. Yeah.
And the other thing that I really did enjoy, I enjoyed about 5 minutes of this RTV, but the bit that I did enjoy was they talked about kind of what the process is when they discover a new star system, and so they will basically go, right, we've found this new jump point. Someone takes that back, gives that information over, and then the UEE will send in will send in a team, and they'll jump through, and then they'll build a base station type thing to then go out from and terraform and do all that kind of stuff, I liked that. It was actual information which we expect. So then they were saying, is what happens to that station once they've terraformed, once they've done all the stuff they need to do and they've built on the planets? Does that get taken away, or does that get reused? So does that become a rest stop kind of thing? So it's quite an interesting ideas, and I mean, they're not new ideas. I know this has been discussed before, but it's just nice to hear someone sort of say it on a public forum. Very interesting stuff. So okay, so that's it for this week. Not too much to talk about, really. Not much has happened, so what can you do? But a couple of interesting things in there. So don't forget to like and subscribe for more Star Citizen content, and we will be back with some streaming next week on Monday. We'll definitely try some Star Citizen. Hopefully it's all working as it should by then. And yeah, that's it. So thanks very much, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.